evening, everyone. We welcome each and every one of you to this press conference. It is a bit urgent, but it's needed. And the reason why we are gathered here today is for us to come up as civil society, as Gambians, as parents, to discuss and give a statement to the nation and any other person who is concerned. We are in crisis. Our kids are dying, and before we commence, we had 66 deaths. That is why we came up with justice for the GMB 66. But as the numbers are increasing, we still maintain the 66 because that was the name. But let's understand that it is in the increase, and there is a need for the state to act upon the menace. As a result, today we will have our press statement, that is going to be read by Degen Job. Then we have a public statement. The CPA Executive Director Lamin will also give a statement. Then we'll have Nene Frida to talk on as a woman and also as a mother and also as a Gambian. We'll have our Blaine, an artist. Then you have Madi Jobate to also give a statement. At the end of the day, we'll have a solidarity message and question and answers. The reason why we are having all these things because we have stakeholders who needs to communicate to the wider audience, to the wider public, to ensure that we have the Gambia we want. We will not be scared because of what our authorities do, or we are scared of even going to the hospitals when our kids are sick. So we welcome each and every one of you to this press conference, and here we begin. Can we pray in silence? Amen. So we allowed again.
Thank you very much, everyone, and welcome to the Concerned Citizens Press Conference. Welcome colleagues from the media, colleagues from civil society, and also all concerned citizens here present. The Justice for 66 campaign notes that the Gambia government has announced the total of child deaths from these fake syrups is now 69. However, we are using the figure 66 for being the original figure that prompted this campaign, and knowing that we are not yet at the final number. In this regard, we wish to welcome you all to this press conference to provide an update on the campaign and response to the presidential address on the crisis on Friday, October 9th, and the press conference given by the Minister of Health, Amadou Lamin Samate, on Saturday, October 8th. At the onset, we wish to pay our respect once again to the departed children and wish them eternal peaceful rest in heaven. We wish to express our heartfelt condolences to all the bereaved families as well as the entire nation, given this is a national loss. We wish to renew our demand for transparency, for justice, and accountability from the Gambian government, whom we hold to be wholly responsible for the irreparable loss of life of young children, and to their families and to the nation as a whole. As a campaign, we are a group of sovereign citizens who are determined to fulfill our moral, legal, and political obligation to demand justice for the unnecessary, illegal, and untimely death of these children. We wish to call on all Gambians to be part of the campaign, wherever we are, to demand justice. This includes the necessary system change that this country badly requires. To ensure a greater protection and fulfillment of rights, to end corruption and ensure efficiency and responsiveness in the delivery of public service. As a campaign, we are making efforts to reach out to families of these children in order to help them better organize themselves and lead demand for justice of their children. We consider the families of the deceased to be leaders and not backbenchers in the demand for justice. In this regard, we are also reaching out to the Gambia Bar Association and individual lawyers to come to the defense of these families in seeking justice for their children. As a campaign, we hold that the chief perpetrator is the government of the Gambia. We therefore demand the government to act with honesty, openness, and urgency in addressing this national crisis. This crisis is symptomatic of a wider and deeper systematic failure of the state that needs fixing with urgency in honesty and openness. We do not see this current crisis as an isolated case, but rather indicative of a long-standing series of failures of public institutions to be responsive to the needs of the people. Therefore, our response to the statement of the President on Friday is that it was inadequate, misleading, and intended to undermine justice and accountability. The President had failed to respond to the core of this crisis, which is disregard of the rule of law, lack of effective monitoring, and abuse of office by public officials. The fact that these fake drugs from fake companies from India could be sent directly and only to the Gambia without necessary institutions being able to detect and prevent it indicates inefficiency, corruption, and criminal. We strongly believe that the Ministry of Health and its related regulators have the capacity to detect and prevent the entry of fake drugs into the country. Hence, the only reason these fake products could have entered the country is due to negligence, inefficiency, and corruption that must be investigated. For that matter, we take great exception to the statement released by the Minister of Health, Amadou Lamin Samate, at his press conference on Saturday that the Gambia had the best health system as he attempts to dodge responsibility and create scapegoat to blame. We remind Minister Samate of his own lamentations on the floor of the National Assembly that corruption is endemic in his office, which he failed to address since then. In this regard, we demand that Minister of Health Amadou Lamin Samate resign with immediate effect in order to restore public confidence in the health system and protect the integrity of the investigation that are to be carried out. The continued presence of Dr. Samate on the helm of health services has discredited his ministry in the eyes of Gambians. He has failed to live up to the expectations of Gambians who continue to face serious challenges in securing health care. His leadership has not served in any way to maintain trust and confidence in the health system. We cannot add any more value that ministry, and so the sooner he leaves, the better for the ministry and the overall delivery of the health care in this country. Together, Dr. Samate, we also call for resignation of the executive director and dissolution of the board of directors of the Medicine Control Agency for failure of the agency to enforce its own guidelines for import and export of medicines and related products, and their guideline for registration of medicines in line with Medicines and Related Products Act 2014. In the process and actions outlined in the instruments were adequately and diligently enforced, we would not have witnessed the loss of 69 young lives today. In the same vein, we also call for the dissolution of the Pharmacy Council of the Gambia for its failure to ensure that pharmacies provide safe and healthy products, which has led to the loss of these young lives. We find the management of pharmacy licenses to be unethical. The Medicines Control Agency and the Pharmacy Council are oversight and monitoring bodies over medicine exporters and importers and pharmacists. Information we have obtained is that some key members of the agency and the council are renting out their licenses to pharmacists. This is a clear conflict of interest, which directly undermines effective oversight and accountability. The members of the agency and the council should be individuals who should not have any direct financial benefits and by the virtue of holding both licenses and the positions of these institutions at the same time. We also received with great reservation the press statement from the State House and the IGP on Saturday that some importers and pharmacies were suspended and some officials from the Medicines Control Agency have been called to questioning. We wish to demand the State House and the IGP to be open and truthful by disclosing the names of the affected importers, pharmacies, and officials, for the public has the right to know. We wish to question the IGP as to why the suspended importers and pharmacists have not been arrested since they are suspects of committing a crime. Similarly, we wish to also ask the IGP to indicate the duration of the investigation. This information is necessary to ensure that indeed the path of justice and accountability shall reach its logical conclusion without any interference and derailment. We wish to remind all public institutions and officials to bear in mind that the mandates given to them carried life and death consequences, and hence, the slightest act of negligence and the lack of due diligence takes place. They take lives away. This is what has happened, leading to 69 young lives lost. Finally, we wish to call on all citizens to realize that the state of affairs of the Gambia children is in there due to the continued failure of the Gambian government to protect and fulfill rights of children. Where conditions of children are poor, unhealthy, and uncertain, then life and future of that society itself is gloomy. It is in realization of this unfortunate situation that we hold that all citizens have a moral duty to ensure that society and services are safe, all citizens are safe and healthy for children. We hereby call on all citizens to stop being complacent, indifferent, and take things for granted, for the next child victim could be your child. Justice for children who died as a result of taking fake syrup. Thank you for your attention. Justice for 66 Plus campaign.
Thank you so much, Degen. And that is why we said up with justice. We have to ensure that we attain that justice, irrespective of who is involved. The state must be responsible and the state must be held accountable. If the people that are the ones holding the license, they cannot be the players and the referees at the same time. So that itself has compromised their mandate, and we are demanding for them to resign. And we call on the National Assembly also to follow suit, to ensure that they put pressure on the executive in ensuring that the answers that we seek for, we are. On that note, I will invite Lamin. Okay, Tima, then to Lamin. Move.
Kalamay olof lay waxe tay dañ fi aksi waatoon rek pour teewee beneen bés ci xeex bu ñoo xeexal suñ xale yi ñu ñaaka 66 xale bi nga xamante ne was due to, let's say, the negligence of our authorities. Lii nag ñëpp lañ ci oo askan bi yëpp lañ ci oo politikuñ te tey ku jógee xëj na ci political party bu munti doon xale yu gaañu yëpp kenn ku nekk xëj na bokka nga ci sorry I'm being a bit tense so ngeen jégal ma waaye tey suñ waree wax mooy xale yooyu yëpp victime yooyu yëpp tey regardless ku nekk xëj na sa parents bokk na ci benn political party so pour firndeel ne rek ñun ñëwuñ fi pour politique waaye dañ ñëw pour askan bi pour ñu mun a toog seet affaire bi nuñ ko mun a sukkandekoo ak ñu responsible naka lañ la naa mun a indee on board with their names clear. And secondly, ñu bëgg a emphasize rek si Dr. Samate because man li ma wax rek mooy dafa fail Gambian si yëpp te by now waroon naa mun a fekk mu jël pen and paper resign bàyyi liggéey bi te ñun consider wuñ ko léegi fu mu nekk nii because daf ñu fail and lum jot a wax démba yëpp mel na ni loo xamante ne it was personal because dégguñ si message buñ bëgg a dégga dégguñ si benn message buñ bëgg a dégga lu gën a tuuti woon sax mooy condolence bu mun a yónnee xale yi ak seen parents yi waaye daf si jaarul sax so dafa nekk loo xamante ne lu doy waar la loo xam ne ñu ngi ñaax askan bi yépp ñu jéem a ñëw bokka si lii képp koo xamante ne yow sa doom victime la wala du victime sax wala mbokka nga lii war na laa naxari képp koo xam ne deret mu ngi daw sa yaram te yaay nga especially lii war naa mënoon a daw sa yaram bu baax a baax kon ñu ngi ñaax askan yi yépp ñu jéem a ñëw bokka si xeex mi pour réew mi ñu mun a teg ñoo xamante ne how to call it are fit to the positions of sorry, I'm so tense, guy. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So lii daal laa jotoon pour wax ba si kanam. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Tima.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
The most important thing was justice being deserved. They cannot be part of the numbers in your content and the number in your guide. But what happened to those numbers? That means then what accountability. So the accountability area being emphasized now for that much. The government, muy Baroda, muy Samate, they keep on downplaying those figures, thinking, seeing them as ordinary figures. Seeing those people are human beings, they back and let them. So we allowed Lamin, there's a director of the national coordinator of the Child Protection Alliance, CPA.
Thank you, Omar. Good evening, distinguished colleagues from the civil society fraternity. Equally also to the same extension to the members of the media present here. And I acknowledge the presence of the artist who is also amongst us here. Basically, on behalf of CPA and the board of directors, this is not something new when it comes to the civil society taking up a platform in order to hold government to account. It is quite important to note that as civil society organization, we always have these two fundamental roles that we play with the state. And I hope also to, in this whole process, also to will maintain these two processes. That we have a complementary role, that we are still open up with the government to continue engaging the government to work on the remedies. Because the damage has been done, but still now we have much more vulnerable people outside that still need the information, that still are quite also exposed to further risks or harm that we think that we could be able to work with government. But equally also too, we can also continue engaging government in terms of consultation to realize that, well, it is not only about the element of suspension of licenses or the element of dissolvement of board of directors, but it's about the victims, the affected families. How best can we make sure that we work with the government to make sure that at the end of the day, the government could be able to give adequate compensation to the affected families. But equally also too, I think this press conference has been geared towards trying to further strengthen the accountability, to raise the voice of conscience, to raise our voice of accountability when it comes to acting on behalf of the affected families. And for me, this is not about numbers. Even it should be a concern to the state being the primary duty bearer, to make sure that it's kind of like safeguard and protect the welfare of every child in this country. One loss of a life means something to the state. But unfortunately, I know there has been a lot of sitting back to watch and what is actually happening in this scenario, because this is not the first time a statement has been brought forward. When there was 28, as the first information we had, there was nothing like people coming out to hold the government to account. So I think I'll call on the members of the civil society, likewise also to the media, that we must be able to stand up. We must be able to stand our ground when it comes to strengthening that voice of accountability. The state must not be able to take things for granted. And we all know, obviously, the whole saga of having the fake drug importation in this country is nothing more, nothing less, other than an issue of negligence. And we also know that if the state failed to act on this, the state is equally complicit. And we have seen statement from statement kind of like indicating the state being complicit in this. Moreover, we have seen the comparison of figures by the statement given by the president when he was addressing the Gambian people. So that has also fallen short of the concrete step that the state is willing to take, not only to suspend licensing, but to make sure that those who are involved in the importation and distribution of these fake drugs in this country are actually arrested and face the full front of the law. But unfortunately, we are not seeing that, and I think this is important, that we are able to come back as civil society. We are also able to engage the general public to see how best we work individually and collectively. For me, we all have our individual responsibility towards this, but equally, what is more important, we cannot do it individually. We must be able to work collectively as civil society. We must also work in partnership still with the government to make sure that this thing becomes thing of the past. But it cannot be thing of the past when there is no justice. So on that note, I don't want to prolong. The statement has said it all. I want to say a big thank you for coming and answering to this call, but I also challenge us, the moment we take this platform, we must continue the process. We must make sure that at the end of the day, it's not one of an event that we have, but continue engagement, as you have said, the National Assembly, the police, the government, and the other civil society actors who are not here, especially the umbrella body Tango. We expect Tango to be here, being the umbrella body of NGOs or civil society organizations in this country. They should be able to take the leadership. So on that note, I want to say thank you.
Thank you so much, Lamin. My takeaway from your statement is no justice, no peace. You cannot sustain peace when there is no justice. So the victims and their families deserve justice, and that's what we are asking for. So now we will move to Anti-Taboo. Anti-Taboo being a veteran within the civil society, and also a parent, an auntie, and so on. We would allow her also to give a statement in, can you speak Sere?
Not really. Okay, jërëgeen jëf mbokk yi ñi ñoo seetaan ñëpp ñu ñëw fi tey pour waxtaan rek ak askan wi parce que lu métti loo xam ne mu ngi dal ci askani Gambia muy juróom benn fukki xaleel ak juróom benn yoo xam ne ñàkk nañ seen bakkan ci benn garab boo xam ne am nañu ko fi indi woon so ci kaw loolu ñu ngi dénku nguur gi ne nañ jël seen matuwaay taxaw ni mu waree ñi nga xam ne ñoo waral garab bi dugga ci biir Gambia nañ jéem a gis ne li yoon war a def ci ñoom rek def nañ ko gis nañ nag ne am na ay waxtaan yu génn di wax président bi génn na waxtaan minister of health maanaam jëwrin bi nga xam ne moom lañ dénk waari wér gu yaram gi génn na tamit waxtaan waaye waxtaan yi waxtaan doy because benn bakken rek su rotee rek mel na ne lu bari la te nekku ne sax ay mag lañ waaye ay xale yoo xam ne amuñ doole dañoo ut ñoo xam ne suñ feebaree ñoo leen a jox garab ñoo leen a saytu ñoo leen a seet su nekkee ne nag loolu nag am na ay rixa boo xam ne am na ci foog naa ne askan bi war nañoo jóg taxaw so loolu tax tey ñun ñu ñëw civil society organisation ñoo toog pour waxtaan pour gindandiku pour seet naka la ñoo def ba mun a saafara lii parce que ba fi ñoo waxee nii benn tey juróom benn fukk ak juróom benn lañ am waaye ndax jéggi na ko kenn xamut bugga nañ government génn si waxa askan wi ci làkk bi nga xam ne moom la nit ñi dégga waxtaan na nit ñi nga xam ne ñoom la seen ñoo loru ci lii maanaam yaay yi ak papa yi ñu masawu leen kayit boo xam ne génne nañ ko pour riit rek ba kenn fu mu rot rek li nga war a njëkk a def mooy nga masawu seeni borom su ko defee ñu yëg ne yow nii day yëg nga seen ñàkka parce que ñi dem kenn mënu leen a indi te xale yi dem nekkul ne yaayee papa yi rek a leen ñàkka Gambia moo ñàkka parce que xale yooyu mënoon nañoo dunda ay ati at jëriñ réew mi jëriñ seen boppa jëriñ seen yaay jëriñ seen papa yi comme que lii nag am na te mu dal ci suñ ko ñun ñëpp dañ war a jóg taxaw ni ñu war a taxawee ba pare gis ne yoon def na liggéeyam jëwriñ bi nga xam ne nag moom dañ dëkk wàllu wér gu yaram dafa seer te benn rek comme ni ma ko waxee su rotee dafa metti rawatina nag juróom-benn fukka ak juróom-benn ci kaw loolu mbootaay ñi nga xam ne ñoo nekk ci civil society ñëw nañ pour masawu waa réew mi ba pare di wax government ne na taxaw ni mu war a taxawee pour gis ne case bii nii saafara nañ ko ba nga xam ne du fi amati ñi nga xam ne ñoom lañ dénka pour ñu seet licence yi nga xam ne ñooy indi garab yi nañ leen jéem a saytu nañ leen jéem a seet ñu jël seen matuwaay gis ne seet nañoo ñoom laboratoire yi nga xam ne ñoo war a test pour ñu gis ne garab yi nii mat na pour ñu jël ko naan ko na government seet naka laa def pour gis ne test bu mu génnaati fii parce que test yi fii am yépp Ghana la jóge wala mu jóge ko Sénégal wala mu jóge ko South Africa te foog naa ne fi mu nekk nii war nañoo taxawu boo xam ne war nañoo am suñu own laboratoire boo xam ne mooy gëstu di seet garab yi ndax war na pour ñu naan ko ndax war na pour ñu saani ko su ma mbokki jigéen ñi nag nga xam ne ñu ngi amee ay tuut tànka yi ñu ngi amee ay xale yu ndaw nga xam ne fi mu nekk nawet la te soj dafa gaaw malaria dafa gaaw lu nekk dafa gaaw feebar dafa gaaw nañ bàyyi seen xel ci garab yi ñu wone ne buñ ko joxee koo xam ne yaa ngi am pour jël garab pour jox sa doom gisal ne garab bi gëstu nga ko ut nga koo laajte même boo xamutee sa xel su màccutee mun ngaa gëstu bokk ku dendoo yow nga gis ne li nga koo jox nekk na garab boo xam ne du ko lor loolu maa ngi koo dénku suma mbokki jigéen ñi ba pare rek di dellusiwaat rek ñun ñëpp jógee ko from different civil society organisation di leen masabuwaat rek di leen masabuwaat ne leen ñàkka dafa métti waaye foog naa ne fii suñ fi jógee ko government dina jël matuwaayam comme ni ko Tima waxee rek du politique waaye dafa nekk loo xam ne askan wi la dal te askan wi ñoo war a jóg taxaw wax yuuxu wan ne wax digga neex yàlla bugga nañ wàllu te wàllu fi mu nekk nii dafa jot soo si kaw loolu maa ngi gërëm suma naataango yi ma fi toogal yépp di leen wax ne campagne bi door na so nañ leen ci try dem ci ba fu mun a am jërëjëf jëf
jërëjëf Fatou foog naa loo xam yow gaaral am nañ solo parce que gis nañ bés buñ génnee Westfield nañu dañoo masawu ba pare dañoo ñaanal ñu nga xam ne ñoom ñoo dem mooy xale yi nguur gi instead of nga yërëm nit ñi nga yónni ay PIA yu officials ak seen tear gas pour ñëw tasaare nit ñi ndax nguur boobu pare nañ liggéey so these are things that we need to understand ba pare buñ wàccee luñ njëkkaa def mooy wàcce ne tasaaroo leen dañ ñu wax ne fii da ngeen di nakansa da ngeen a yaaxa trafic wàcce leen jógee leen fi léegi ndax nguur gi regret nañ ko so that is why there is a need for the state to stand up mooy nit ñu nga xam ne ñun ñoo leen sànnil karta won leen ne ñun ñoo amee doole bi foofu laa bëgg a emangum balaa maa mer moom may may nee ne mu continuer.
Okay, good evening, everybody. And Mr. Chairman, please allow me to stand on existing protocol. I greet you all, the media and everybody present here today. It's a very, very difficult moment for all of us, but I will say more difficult for women of this Gambia, concerned women and mothers of this country. Because as a mother, I can relate, I can feel how that one mother who has lost his or her daughter, a daughter or a son, from such a negligent act and incompetence of the authorities that we bestow the task to oversee our health sector, to cure but not to kill, to cure but not to murder. I feel your pain and I am sorry. I wish we can turn this around. And in that effort, that's why we all came together and say enough is enough. We're not going to continue to sit and watch people do things that serve their interests, but not the interests of the people who have put them in power and entrust them with the resources and the finances to oversee our affairs. Things happen in the country and situations arise. A lot of people will sit there and say it is beyond our control. But we are saying it is within our control because the power lies in our hands. And we are ready to show that the power is in us, and we will change and fire and dismiss people who are not serving the interests, our own interests, but their own interests. This is an easy thing to find out that a medicine is not fit for purpose.
ñu ngi masawu parents yi ñu ngi wax seen nahar, and I think it's really important for us artists to actually sing about things that are really affecting us as a society, like bun xaar be dara mu dal ñu dañu soga juk, you know, because this is Gambia, this is where we live, you know. Kenn su amé metit dafa melni ñu ñëpp am metit, you know. So I mean we need to hold our leaders to account, because do mëna ñëw rek and you know do whatever you feel like doing nga expect ne ken du la wax dara. I was equally disappointed when we were at Westfield, when I saw the police officers came in and you know actually order us to disperse in 5 minutes. I was like, okay, what is going on, you know, because nekun fa pull inside like violence or anything. We were there to seek justice for the 66 plus kids, you know. So I mean, man, I'm just I don't know how to explain it right now, but mange maso parents yep, and as an artist I will continue using my voice to seek for justice, you know, accountability. Yeah, thank you.
Jerejef Aublin, I think that's a clear manifestation. The state knows and understands the psychic of Gambians. Okay, na def luma ne ken muni si dara, because I'm going to use another section of the state. Those are those in uniform to go against the others. So bayama def luma ne, bayama def corruption, bayama def yahoo and so on, because nit ñi suñ mere what is going to follow suit is and they can do whatever because they are going to be given orders. These are things that we need to stop. And those in uniform should understand that they are equally Gambians and they are equally parents. It can be their kid. What if they send Domla? Are they going to be silent about it? So these are things that we need to factor in. And now we will allow Uncle Madi to give a statement. Yeah? Yes, but I will also want you also in your statement to add on the Mandinka version. Also. Yes. Like you have a lot of people. I wanted Nene also to speak in...
Okay, thank you everyone. Yeah, my name is Madi, an independent citizen down here. Okay, yes, I can say one or two things in Mandinka as well. Yes, so so for me, what I want to say, I think is partly mentioned in our statement, that these 66 plus children we're talking about, you know, reflects a deep and a very wide systemic failure in this country, not just today, but in the years and decades that we've been in this country. For children, for youth, for healthcare, for education, every sector, there is consistently gross failure in service delivery, in the protection of rights, in ensuring that quality services are provided to Gambian people. And this is why we are having this situation. And for which I think every citizen should think deeper and far beyond the 66 plus children to realize that this is going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen next week. It's going to happen next year. So long as the system, as it is, operates in this country, there is a system that lacks accountability, a system that lacks efficiency because it lacks accountability and transparency, a system where there is no leadership, and where all state institutions, from the executive level, from the legislature, from the judiciary are failing in their responsibility to ensure that rights are protected, services are delivered, quality services. And unless we address this, are aware of this and address it, I think we will continue to live a life of uncertainty, of misery, of pain. All right. 66 children has died. But until now, maternal mortality is high. Until now, preventable deaths are in this country. The minister said our health system is the best in the region. But these samples, they took them to Senegal, to Ghana. If your health system is the best, why are you taking them to Senegal? All right? The Bob Kerr's rape trial going on, the DNA test, they took it to Ghana. HIV, COVID, before, everything you take it somewhere, otherwise somebody comes to help you. And you said your health system is the best. All right? And we have to respond to that. And why is that? It is because there is poor leadership and corruption. Because at the end of the day, how much does that equipment cost? A dialysis at Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, an MRI machine, a testing kit at food security. When the sniper thing happened, did they not take the samples to Senegal or Ghana or somewhere else? The equipment that food security needs, how much does it cost? It doesn't cost $1 million. But look at the vehicle the president is driving. Look at the vehicle ministers are driving, permanent secretaries, directors, managing directors, so on and so forth. Vehicles that cost nothing less than $3 million. But you can sit before us as a public official, tell us we don't have capacity, we don't have resources. I mean, even America is building its capacity today. America, of all places, we think is the most powerful country. They are building capacity. So capacity is always built. But there's capacity here to prevent this. And just to end this, to just show you that negligence and corruption we are talking about, we have a Ministry of Health. Under its body, purview, we have statutory bodies mandated to guide, to watch over the delivery of health services and health products to make sure we have good health care. And that is the Medicines Control Agency and the Pharmacy Council. Now, if you go to the 2014 Medicine Control Agency Act, the guidelines of the Medicines Control Act says on importation alone of medicines that only importers who are licensed by the agency are permitted to import medicines and related products. For requirements as an importer, refer to MCA guideline for licensing as importer of medicines and related products. Who imported those syrup here? They should have been registered with MCA. So MCA cannot tell us that we don't know where these syrups came from. It went for it to say government hospitals, government health facilities, similar health-related institutions that provide healthcare services are authorized to import medicines and related products for use in patients undergoing treatment in its facilities. But it says non-governmental organizations, private clinics or hospitals, including veterinary clinics or hospitals, that provide healthcare services may be permitted by the agency to import reasonable quantities for use only in patients under their care in their facilities and only if the products are not locally available. So the law is there. The instruments are there. What capacity are you talking about? There's an agency that is mandated to do that. It said registered medical doctors, dentists, and veterinary surgeons may be permitted to import reasonable quantities on special request to the agency for use only by patients under their care. So these children, which health facilities they go to? Those children are under the care of those health facilities. And those health facilities are supposed to have obtained permission from the agency to import these syrups. So the Medicines Control Agency, they know. Yet they can give us a press release to say 2 importers are suspended or what importer is suspended. You cannot name us that importer. But if you go further, it says guideline for registration of medicines. That guideline is meant to create procedures for registrations of medicines in the Gambia for variations of registered medicines or for renewals of registrations. And it says the registration, variation, and renewal of registration of medicines should be approved by the agency before importation into the country, except of those used as samples for the purpose of this application. So no medicine can enter this country without the knowledge of the Gambia government. So when we get to this point, the minister should take responsibility. The head of MCA should take responsibility. The board of MCA should take responsibility. The council of the pharmacy council should take responsibility to say, we failed. We let our guard down. This is why these things pass through. And the pharmacy council, there's a whole act, Gambia Pharmacy Council Act 2014. And it says their purpose is the promotion and the protection of health and safety of the general public through safeguarding, maintaining, and enforcing the highest standards in the practice of pharmacy and for connected matters. So the laws are there, the instruments are there. So how can we have this come here? MCA, if you need an equipment, buy that equipment. I'm sure the vehicle the executive director of MCA drives is more expensive than that equipment. So you cannot tell us we don't have resources, we don't have capacity. And this is why I'm saying we have a perennial systemic failure in this country. And the only solution lies with we the citizens. That ultimately, we are the ones dying. It is our children dying. I mean, you know, we are the ones who go to Edward Francis Moore Teaching Hospital and get bad treatment and have to suffer with the pain at home. In my family, I have, you know, nephews, nieces, grandsons who I know we had to take them to Senegal. I mean, how can we go on like that as a country? But meantime, those people have the means to easily travel out to go and get the highest quality of treatment. Yet the minister has the audacity to tell us Gambia has the best health system in the region. Which region are you talking about? You have the best health system, you are sending samples to Senegal? You are sending samples to Ghana? Are those not in the region? So, fellow citizens, you know, I think the speakers have made the point. For me, it is justice and accountability. Those responsible, the guardians, you know, as Lamin said, government is the primary duty bearer. They have a duty to protect. They failed. We need investigation to see which institution, which official failed in his or her duty, and we prosecute them. That these families, 66, they need compensation. Government needs to compensate each and every family for the negligence that led to the loss of their children. And the civil society, as citizens, we need to raise the necessary resources to see how do we support each of these family members to seek justice in the courts. All right? And of course, to continue the advocacy at the level of the executive, at the level of the legislature, that they have a duty to ensure accountability. It is not possible we have an executive and a legislature in a country, yet abuse takes place without justice. That's impunity. Our lawmakers need to stand up to make sure that they address, they check the executive and all these institutions to make sure they perform according to the law. And the law is here. Medicines Control Act, Pharmacy Council Act, it is there. So, mbadi un coming wrong, mbenyi membe fokang. Danim fanam balo be kandila ko Omar ha fanyaming. Ya, mbenyi sio mento teng ka nan nuclear na suno kaitandi nyim dinding tang woroning menta metawoti. Melalon koy fata ko ku kante na manke ye borle ta mboro melalon ko manke bor betete. O boro manyana duna Gambia jam. WHO yaitani le ko boro an manta dunya dawdan din Gambia kola. An amalo warta a nuclear warta na Minister of Health amansila amamalu amman personal kafo ko aka WHO abi wole jale kan ko liya ko lankene ma nyame dunya kono. Manaka WHO ta lankene ma. Manaka WHO ta lankene ma la kume alonko abe haramadun tinyak. Ita ka mone batum jan WHO ba lankene ma. Adela tinyaro al balang alla naso mi nyimbe sabu al mo ko kacha foyto ko kata wolle jale ni WHO man nyimfo bin delta sila jam an hanin sign ngola ko dinding tang boroning fo kononto but dinding jolle be sasari mamello dinding jolle fadila sol ko foye bade mamello won mel yalon ko ni nyin sasabe lari laran to sign fo be kendela le ba ñing bunda me ñing pharmacie o manufacturer même India mele ñin dara ni kawlong ko i manke mo sobelti o man kolea ni sidi la computer ya Google drone isaje ko clearly wo company from India found India lamba sekundan diun ye bawo company tol banku dol ye o company ya banle ite ka sinyati de gambe jay kita o company sifa boro mialo ko nadunta moro jato kono ake jarala o ay fa ite mo ko kisi yalla kenama ya ino sabatindi itata yo isikanan yo di namola hanin sai kasi buka fu mo ka fu mo le ko nga importa killing suspend le nga importa do keteni tenite ite o to fala mole mo nyanta wala so da ngo jamfa wala ngalo ko nyin company nyile nyin drop kurung nati na jang nga jamfela bar bi nde mo tolom bi nde sa sala nga da pharmacie do nga ta boro sanje bo pharmacie do fo moliye jumhala woti because halama dum niyo yoleta mo tan woro womu sate wolet womu masakalet mo tan woro fata dam that's a massacre you know so nyimbe tan nata badi la belari nyame wolom ko hanin sa ndel gambe di na gambe di ya ma fonka ha hanin sa fomma fahamle banko gambe banko di ya ma faham munam so man na banko di ya man na banko kanta wala dandi nga mol mel tombon pour ye kenam binda nolti ye dogo ke molye ngasi ika tilimbalia ne barafiru samba molkan na nafulo ka pisir pasar me alon ko niyo ika tawonya kabring independent ñine be ke kan gambe jang an gambe di ñanta si ye fam buña ye fallon ye fan kanta ye balawol ko president mun nam binano leti vice president mun nam binano leti minister mun nam binano leti ndeleke jo ndeleke domorindi ndeleke fete fata ndeleke larandi lan ndeleke jar kendandi so mun nam binano leti yaji fo banku di le faham ye lo ko nte sonna moye tilimbali akenna manke faloti pour yena ye 5 ans e ben do kundila fo nga fa ba ñine be kering gambe since independent yaje ñi manke dro ñi dinul mel fata bari al nga dinul dron ni nga dinul la ko jibe 2004 din tan konontama tan nani man fajang nvan la sojarol nga melta nga uniform dila nga joran dila mejola yena dinumre ye bung ye fa sanji mo ni fo bimbe di kilomendo jumale konti boda ko na masakunda gambe masakunda is a criminal ibe gambe din fakan kabri independent be gambe din fakan ibe gambe din fo hari andikan ibe gambe din ke kan you know I mean tilimali kan just like that kabri independent wala be kiring 2000 akita fo bi wodi ni dol bije menyalon ko nim imam fanu dol bije to mi wol kata wol sita ka president ka deputy ka managing director ka big CEO di somewhere dol bije wol be sirin siran kono kabri wado fo bi ibe siri o siran kono ime fanna fano gambe dingul be sirin wo tilimbali be lari mel fano tilimbali ake ngana ngol dundi na de ko bundal to kotoke nga placol dila nga makamo dila I mean fondal gambe dingul bu kam mira bang hani nyin 2017 today penny appeal journalist oli ay tandi ko bunda do be ga fa penny appeal e ka dindul ta ko bayoli del kawlete kawle makoy itata ye tilimbali alankena mata senada fa senada set masakunda be siriyo company wo organisation yebula honya andu nga minister so memmarta dindewul la nga minister so memmarta banko kono kanta ko la minister of interior nga IGP soto nga attorney general soto ni lom bundalti mo nan ko place men tan kantana bari yen mbarama wol be siri nyaabale man sonna kan mo mul kanta bilal boarding school dindi kononto manata je fobe ifat Senegal jang musundi man fa lopitano to Macky Sall minister of health abay amanya nya saba man fenge fa ya bay sinya kili so gambela ko ani ko warta bak but ñing abentel lebulu nin lafta na balo sa kanta nyinya ndello nin lafta ngatari mantoro kono nin doya anin ñin ni ko yakono butu nsi tarwo nyadro nga molta ngetombon nga sembodila nga tari noma ko sajio ha be tilimbala la molla be mol doyala be mol dorola ko la fala nyamen nsi tarwo nyadro ala baraka ba
but before we have Uncle Sirif, that the mic is Then we move to the question and answers. Yeah, Uncle Sirek is from the Victim Center. So you're welcome.
Abaraka Baka, thank you. Kal be kontom, kal nimbara, bengo benta nyanyata. Nyaja mbe benta jam, bari yale akap. Bari ya ni banko kano, wole mbesi jambi. Mbe banko dingo, banko mo be konton na sangola. Akita banko be sunoti. Akita nye jakal ku bafanati. Ka atu yeman sakunda tombong, yata mbindi puru kamara banko la tamandirol. Bankola tamandiro na jata kende abundal. Bankola tamando na tanko bundal. Bankola tamando na baluo kenyal. Bari Gambia be kula kono be min keta jakale ku bati. Akata banku dingo be suno fanati. Akata be jikla tewati. Kamansa kuna tambini kayaja me bondi jam banko kamia lon ko be jam sanji wonni fula. Maral jaw kono anin tilimbali a maralo kono. Ka jiko soto ka fuka arama baro nati ka londi banko nyato kam bondi o maral jaw kono kam bondi o kolya kono kam bondi o deto kono bari system o man falling hani biyata system kilangol bije mol me banko bulo maral jaw kono arama baro ya ko munta wala kam bi ke tombon ke nati ke banko ke mara banko place bal bela banko kam bira député bungo kono fa government institutional kono fa foreign embassy kono ito lebe marani nga bela woto falindiro njikita minna te sotonola fo nga ñoñ ko ñakono juube nga toña fo ñoy ni maslaha ko nga bondije badi ya ko nga bondije teri kafo nga janjang nga ñaatili banku doku wala wo dorne se banko sama ñaato dindingol la ko abala fa warta o kamala Victim Center na Program and Documentation Department many victim la family ba be document la on the human right violations coming Yaya Jammeh victims will document yami. They are victims of Yaya Jammeh's atrocities. These are victims of Adam Barrow's atrocities. They be document la one. Anin fana nin civil society bebe kafulanga ke kilinti kafu kilimbu ka kuta mandire fonga dete nyonkan kafu nyonkan wole kan sembentu yandi akana kam fana don kafu ko be karari aklale all the time masa kuna tilimbali yake mun. It is about time nga action tasai kama sakunda samba loi nya tilingo pharmacy me nin pharmaceutical company me nin borore da India ka samba at the highest court of the world, International Court of Justice katonya sabatindi anyonka na ke Gambia kotake ni waman soto jam fo dunya be tumunna ntolbe talari aklere dorong na fatala kuma kensen fo dorong press conference organize kensen aninka placard mutakatalo silo kan media yafo lokun kilin lokun fly ban tak in 2 weeks time it at social media ning diningol la ko be erase la letaje la kotake Gambia la attitude be walati Ninko New Gambia, we should demand for the rebirth of New Gambian. Gambian kutole nyanta balu la koteke. Ngana attitude falling. Mindset nga falling. Nga direct towards national development, towards national orientation for patriotism. Banko be mara if banko la nafulol. Katunga fail leadership lesson. This country lacks leadership. This country is in a serious leadership crisis, and it lacks direction. Oto banku dingo nyanta ownership letala. Nyanta ownership letala banko la maranyar. Ntole kama sakewol tolo. Komi Maria fo nyami lambinano lam. President of the State House ntole kajo. Ala danyi ningo ala dimba ala danyi ningo. Minister the same thing. Managing director the same thing. Ye momin tolo ya sindi siranko ikana sila wala kote ke kotonya fwe umukunta yalati ni manke civil society la kumbotira anila wasidati de banku dingo bela jakal kolam banku dingo bela wasidalam ntol be diamu kam banko be kangol woto banko dingol be se kafuna fengo fembe ni press conference wala may kan iseni kelo ke fengo la kelote bi abe dola bungo kono sama setala dimbaya sela dimbaya ma woto nga attitude min bento yaaja mala jamano kan ngaw attitude fali ka fuka mamma na hajiti je ngaw attitude fali na ye ma amema sama se dula bun kono de woto nga lo nga kafu nyonna nga deto nyonna ngani chahan ko bayna system ko tilimbali yani pasaro ni corruption mi be banko kan asembo warta anyanta dannale president ko $35 million ita kata United Nations General Assembly ka delegation o ta min sada mo tannaniti what is nonsense what delegation o min betata e mune contribute ye mune foje ini mune natana banko kan president wala address ni United Nations General Assembly la holo kono jibe min siata mi momin be sirin je amanta mi mo kemela momi yokungo suta be findide tatela hajol empty seat sola wolle address katu yalo imam African leader soli imam bunya katu leader soli imam emela mol horoba emela mol bunya utombe min folale ko ni minketa bankoka is gross human rights violations family be dawra bankoka victim center invite isina na program and documentation department telephone number mbadi la jang 990 36333 niyo call be direction of the isina victim center ngi document nim civil society be fana be kacala le akana dan jambila nga tax force londi ripun nga consultation o ke nim Gambia Bar Association banku din kendol kajibe be legal action tala nyami nim man sakuna ma watajo bain tol sa watajo bain fangoy annim bara la baraka thank you
baraka mbake uncle Sere ngamira kuma kama seneyada it's clear that comme lum ko waxe ci kalama sosé képp ko xamné victime sentang fa pour gis né sa ak sa yelef nga am ko su dee ne victime nga mun nga àgga si ñoom joxe na téléphone number bi nga call téléphone number bi parce que lii munuñ koo bàyyee nii nañ dem si kanami luwa gis ne ñëpp luñ war a am ñu am ko te naka lañ ko mun a defee mooy ñun yëpp suñ bokkee nekk benn ñu gisee suñ boppa ne Gambien lañ ñu commencé di dajte te duñ em si yoon yi duñ em si press conference waaye dañoo àgga si court si nga gis ne ñu mun a am justice buñ am from here we will have to open the floor for questions. Then the team will be here to answer, to respond to your questions. Okay. Yes. Okay. So we take in 5 questions, or then we answer them.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to take questions and answer directly, or you want to take all the questions?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, we can answer as they come.
Okay.
It's better if not the tendency of forgetting.
Okay, I'm just trying to write it down, but it's okay. Yeah. I was thinking take 3 or 4, then we respond to those ones, then take another batch of questions.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You
so yeah, this is going to take you back a little. What is the name of this team that is fighting for this process, the justice for the 66 victims?
Okay. Any other? Or we respond to those 2 from the panel?
Uncle Madi, I think, will come under what next. The name for this campaign is not a team. This is a campaign for and by the Gambian people. And the name for the campaign is Justice for 66 Plus campaign. That is the name for the campaign. And Uncle Madi will come under what next the team will be engaged on to see that justice is served.
Yeah, in addition, we can say it's more.
Yeah, it's a cross-section of civil society.
Yeah. Yeah, so No, nobody has boycotted this, and no specific invitation went to any organization. So it's a spontaneous movement that arose in the wake of this crisis. So, as everyone was responding, reacting on social media, a few of us felt to organize and hold a vigil immediately on Friday. And so it is still in organization mode, like in formation mode, but it's not intended to be an organization or institution, but it's a platform. So if you're an individual farmer, if you're a taxi driver, it's open to you. If you're in the diaspora, if you're an organization, if you're a journalist, any human being, any citizen who is hungry for justice, who wants justice and accountability, come on board, bring your idea, and we mobilize and harness. So we are at CPA today because we just last night the idea that, given the president's statement, given the minister's press conference, that there needs to be a response. Because at the end of the day, we cannot sit here, our servants who fail in their duty now come, create a narrative to exonerate themselves, and then leave us in limbo. That would be grossly irresponsible on our part. And so we are not going to allow President Adama Barrow or Minister of Health Amadou Sane, Samate, or any other person, public official, to control the narrative, to push down our throat their idea. No, because we know. We also know. We know their terms of reference. We know the laws in this country. We know the institutions in this country. So we know what they are supposed to do and what they fail to do. But we cannot let them come and control the narrative and then we say, okay, let us let them be. I think for me that era has to end. So it is us, we the people, controlling the narrative. And I think since Friday, we, the Gambian people, on social media, on the street, at home, I think we are controlling the narrative. That is why you are seeing all these, hush-hush decisions and actions from the State House, from the IGP, from everywhere, because they are responding to the pressure that is coming. So I tell Gambians, increase the volume, increase the pressure. So this is it.
Thank you. So on the way forward.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead. No, I mean, in terms of the way forward, Lamin talked about what needs to happen. Sharif talks about what needs to happen. We are talking to parents because 66 plus kids, where are their faces? They are just a number. They have faces. They have name and surname. They have mother and father. They are from a home, from a kunda, from a village, from a town. So we have to respect them and know their names and surnames and their parents, and how do we mobilize them to help them organize themselves. They, as we said in the statement, they are not going to be backbenchers. They should be leaders in this fight, because it is their fight too, and more than any one of us, because they lost someone directly. So we are trying to organize them. We want to appeal to the lawyers of the Gambia. How do we get there so that the necessary processes are taken? And as Sharif has indicated, the victim center is great. We have a victim center. And so long as victimhood is not ending in this country, victim center is relevant. And victims don't happen only under one regime. So we'll document them. That 66 people, young children for that matter, died at one time. I don't think we've ever registered that in the history of the Gambia. We know Yajam at one point killed 56 people, the West Africans. And we know the total number of the deaths. But such negligence by state institutions is unprecedented. And we have to record that, we have to document that. So these are the next steps. And we hope you, the journalists, are not just going to report the press conference, the press release of the Ministry of Health and the government, but investigate. Yes, we expect journalists to do deep investigative reporting to expose the negligence and the corruption that is underneath all of these things. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those answers. And as they rightly said, it is a movement. So being a movement means it does not have that organizational base. We are all affected, we are all concerned because we are binded by the country, that is the Gambia. So based on that, irrespective of your walk of life or background, you are part of this advocacy. You see as a need, come on board because we are Gambians. Thank you.
Can I just add to that? It's a very important question to ask who are organizing this. what's the name. Like they rightly said, it's not owned by anybody, it's not any organization. These are concerned, patriotic citizens who feel the need that we cannot continue to sit and watch issues happen in this country. Quite often something happens, everybody tries to watch. They har kan moy njëkk a jóg. And su nit ki jógee nga xool feesam bi oh nee la I'm not going to say anything. Oh dégeen la duma wax dara duma bokka. Omar la duma bokka. We have gone past that stage. This is lives lost. Those 66 lovely, beautiful souls, we don't know what they could have been in society later on when they grow up. And I'm sure those 66, they come from different walks of lives. They belong in different communities. They come from different tribes. They come from different political parties or affiliation. So it's a combination. It's not one person's own or one group or one sector. It's a national issue. Thus, we need a collective effort. And we are calling on the women, this is our thing. We need to lead. Ñun ñoo dee jur, ñun ñoo yóbbu lopitaan, ñun ñoo dee sonna, ñun ñoo am métit gi. Buñ des gannaaw nañ leen jóg li nga xam ne suñ axal ak suñ yelleef la ñu jox ñu ko bem doy te buñ nangu kenn ku ñu jaay doole kenn ku ñu tuutil buñ ko nangu nañ leen jóg. Buñ ko defut bii yoon nag ku nekk nag ngoyoo ngoy booy sa doom parce que fu mu nekk nii fu naa ne kees gi tëj nañ ko daaj nañ ko dañ ko war a daaj.
Thank you. Yes.
So, just for them not to say that I'm a coward hiding behind this man. First of all, not to the lawmakers, who guy called the Minister of Health, guy def Q&A, and see if there would be any possibility for impeachment.
Yeah, thank you. Any other question? Okay, you have a follow-up question?
Very well, yeah.
Okay.
I must love you for this organizing this press conference because it came at the right time. Infant mortality to a number of 69 as it stands today. Workers all to a state that we are like, wow, this is really happening. This is more like, this will go down in the history of our country that we've faced something that has challenged our health system. Seeing you tasking the Bar Association to call for justice, which is one of the key weapons organizing this today. These kids must be served justice. Aside from justice, what other things do we expect from you? If the government delivers justice, are we expecting you to go to the streets to use the radical approach to seeing that justice is served?
Okay. Thank you. The first question is looking at our relationship with the lawmakers to make sure that this impeachment is possible. That's the first question. On this, who is taking that one?
Go ahead.
Let me take it.
I'm sorry. The reason why I asked that question, why is the president by Mr. Samati. And it's like, this is not the first time Gambian women's life matters came out, and they are saying the numbers of children and women that are dying in this country. And the president and his minister, again, standing in the political platform saying that they are a political organization. And we know, I'm part of Gambian Women's Life Matter. It was a problem in the US because they organized that, we registered that organization there. So, do my like to my president, we want to give to the whole entire Gambia and the world. The Minister of Health, they are doing a wonderful job. For 66 babies dying in a serious nation, you cannot go there. That's a serious thing. That's a serious matter. For more than 66, this number they are giving us, how many is that 66 or that 66? Because it can be more than that because we have provinces in our village and other places. So this minister, lawmakers, you want to ask me. You make on your hand, you want to organize, take them to table, like them, guy deaf, so definitely, guy deaf, I mean, it's a possibility to equip them.
Yes, Thank you very much. I will start from with reference to yesterday when the minister was giving a statement and said these are as a result of some people in his ministry fighting him. And if that is so, and today we join that fight, that he have vindicated those people. And we are not resting. We will engage the lawmakers who are our representatives, and we want to believe they are hearing and seeing the Gambians as we are hearing and seeing the Gambians. And we submit our authority to them to be there for us. We are going to engage them to forward this matter. We're also going to engage the Gambia Bar Association and individual lawyers to see that together we mobilize and seek justice for these 66 plus beautiful souls. Yes, we are going to do that. What was the second question?
The second question is looking at the next step aside from justice. Do we have any other thing in mind?
Aside from justice,
yes.
Like he's saying, if justice is not served, are we going to take radical approaches? We are concerned, responsible citizens. We are going to exhaust every step, logical and necessary, and diplomatically before we go out in the streets. We are going to make sure we are going to engage every stakeholder. Unless they are not ready to be available to listen to the Gambian people, then we will resort otherwise. But as of now, we are going to engage them, we are going to talk diplomatically, and we are going to see how best we remedy the situation together. Until otherwise, we will think otherwise.
Thank you so much, Professor. I just want to answer the questions.
I think...
just to add on, okay. Yes.
Just in addition to what next, I think there are mothers and fathers who have lost their sons and daughters. We will engage them because I'm sure at this moment they live in traumatic conditions. And this group is a shoulder to lie on. And we will go to them and ensure that the victim center is here. They are given some psychological, psychosocial support at least. They need counseling now. They need someone to talk to. They need someone to support them. And that's one area that we will venture as a group, because we are civil society and we have our different areas that we intervene. So that's another option. But there are many options on the table. To go radical, no, not yet, because we will invite the stakeholders as well, all stakeholders that we need to engage, even the government. Because at the end of the day, we are in this together.
Thank you so much. Just what I wanted to add on as for the lawmakers. The message that I have for them is they need to see the country first. And know that the kid that died might be their own. So based on that, any judgment that they are to take have to be responsible and let them put the country first. We are going to engage them, and we will continue to engage all stakeholders to make sure that anyone who is found wanting within that cycle face justice, because these are Gambians that we have lost. Thank you so much. Any other question? We will take one last or two. We close because time is definitely running out. And
Mine is not a question. I just want to ask.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Yes, what I want to say.
I'm not saying the light is like, yes, okay.
Yes, what I want to say is we emphasize on sharing the information because not everybody is privileged to information. And as we speak, it's very much possible that still Gambian children are taking this medication. I am from rural Gambia, precisely, and I know how some of these areas are. They hardly receive some of this information. So our innocent babies can be dying. And also to our National Assembly members. For me, I see this as a crisis. We cannot lose 66 children at the same time. It's alarming. And I expect them as responsible National Assembly members, they should be in their various constituencies at the moment to ensure that they spread the information. The syrup is not the only problem that we have. Do we know if there are other medications that people are still using and it might bring other problems that we don't know? So I call on the government to ensure that they look at every medication that is coming into this country to ensure that we are safe. I personally, I don't feel safe in this country. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I just want to add on to what the various speakers have been saying. I had a short conversation with Uncle Madi when I saw the press conference being announced on his Facebook page, and I did a few questions. I am part of a group that was thinking of seeking a permit from the IGP so that we go on the street to show how outraged and how disappointed we are at our own government and the response of the president and his minister. That was disgusting. But when I had a conversation with him, he told me that I should come here and then we can have further discussions. We also have a plan to set up a GoFundMe because if you look at back in 2 years ago in Nigeria, there is a company in America called Pfizer they did some medication in Nigeria and it affected some kids in Nigeria. Some were killed and maimed. And then the state of Kano did take a legal action against the company. They ended up paying millions of dollars to the affected families. So I was speaking to a friend of mine who is in Sweden, and his kid has, his child has taken the serum. He's worried. He's a nurse. I'm also a volunteer of a medical organization called Chosan Charitable Medical Foundation. We go around the country, give free medication. And it is a concern, everybody is concerned about what is going on now. So I'm just appealing, because the lady rightfully mentioned, we are going to exhaust all means. But until then, since we are not going to take to the states, it's good that I came here. But the plan of going ahead to set up a GoFundMe in case the victims need a legal support so that they will be able to pay it. Because I'm happy that you call on the Bar Association and lawyers that are interested in this case. I'm sure we have lawyers that will be willing to render their services to the victims at no cost. But equally, I think we should go ahead with the GoFundMe, because I told Ombudsman, I said, if we all work together under one umbrella, we will make an impact. If you look at my post, I made a post on Facebook. I said the reaction from the public has put pressure on the authorities, and it's just a matter of time they are going to break. So I'm just urging each and every citizen to continue putting pressure on the authorities, and let us look for all means to make sure justice is brought about for our kids, because we cannot continue like this.
Yeah, thank you so much for those initiatives. And as they said, let's continue the engagement. And the GoFundMe is a possibility, and because we are thinking about a lawsuit, litigation measures. So based on that, those are possibilities. We can continue the conversation as we said. We created a WhatsApp group. We are going to expand it as much as possible so that we have Gambians in it and we'll have conversations. If you have a radio, if you have a media house, you can invite. We will be there, because ordinary Gambians need to hear these messages. And Tala mentioned the fact that she is from the rural Gambia. These are places that are sometimes so remote to an extent that getting information is very difficult. If we can communicate in the local languages, let's communicate in Mandinka, Wolof, Fula, Jola, Serer, any language that you can communicate with for people to understand. Because if not, the lay person over there might not know. So on that note, I would like to thank each and every one of you for coming, and do have a blessed day. Thank you so much.